Hello citizens and welcome back. This is just a short video because Man City beat the Premier League again, this time in court. Now of course City have been taken to court by the Premier League for the FFP charges relating to financial breaches over a 9-year period. City took the Premier League to court on the APT case, which is related to sponsorships and how much a club can earn from a sponsorship party relating to, well, this related to your owners or clubs in one way or another. And we took the Premier League to court for that, citing that it was unfair and, it stopped investment in the club. And it was unnecessarily unfair towards the bigger clubs as well, like United, who get better sponsorship deals from us, who have more fans, who earn more money and that sort of thing. And like I said, City took the Premier League to court for that. And City have won it. And, well, apparently City have won because neither City or the Premier League have mentioned it, probably due to the ongoing FFP case. But news coming out is that City won that case. And to be honest with you, I've been saying it time and time again with this and relating to the FFP cases, that the Premier League's rules are absolutely broken. I mean, they do stop the smaller clubs from investing in their team. And however you look at it, when City were taking over, and I've said this before as well, when City were taking over, one of the things that Calhoun said in one of the post-season interviews that he always does is that we were going to change football. The clubs would hate us, clubs were going to challenge us, that we were going to be possibly taken to court and things like that, and that we would always prove to have the right way, and we were always going to prove that we were running the best football club in the world. And over the last years, we've proven that time and time again. We won the treble, we're winning the league year in, year out. We're turning the league into a farmers league, although we're still everyone's favourite neutral team. I mean, you look at it, no matter what, I think if United and City were challenging for the league, everybody would have wanted City to win. Arsenal, Liverpool fans, if we were challenging Liverpool for the league, United fans wanted us to win a few years ago. They were all celebrating on their fan channels. And the same with Arsenal. I don't think anyone wants Arsenal to win. Everyone wants us to win it. So no matter what anyone says to you about City breaking rules and City sitting that and City getting relegated, everybody wants us to win the league when it comes to us and someone else. Still everyone's favourite. And this court case was massive for City and massive for the Premier League as well. It's going to have probably far-reaching consequences, no matter what happens in the FFP case, although it may have an effect on that as well, because now clubs will be able to invest properly in the infrastructure, in their players, and they're able to invest. Now, you look at Newcastle, that's a prime example. These APT rules were brought in directly because they were bought, and they were worried that how much money the Saudis had and how much money they could pump into they would just spend so much money on players, and they'd storm the league every year. And that was one of the reasons, the FFP reasons were brought in to stop us from doing that, even though we're doing it anyway. So teams like Newcastle have all this money, can't invest in their club properly. Now that's a problem for me, and I've always said it does stop teams. These things and all this nonsense, and you can only have so much, and you can only have so much money, which is fine in principle. And what the Premier League wants to do, Premier League wants to set a fair platform for everyone. Everyone wants to be on the fair ground. You can only spend what you earn, but that's nonsense, as we know, because teams like Liverpool, teams like United, teams like Arsenal are going to have more money than teams like Brentford, teams like Leicester and Burnley and other teams like that come up from the Championship. They're always going to have more money than them. So it's unfair to the new clubs that promote it because they're unable to sort that out quick enough. And you see things like Leicester getting done by financial or PSR breaches just coming into the Premier League. And that down. And they're getting done by the Premier League before even getting promoted for breaking rules that they did in the Championship because they didn't conform to Premier League rules financially when they weren't even in the bloody league. So things like that, and that's why the Premier League's broken, and that's why they need to be taken to task. And that's why when I see all these other fan channels and fans on Twitter and whatnot going on about City breaking rules, City breaking that, City are doing it for the Premier League teams in general. City are doing it for everyone else, so these stupid rules don't ruin what is a competitive league already, because it is a competitive league. And if the Premier League let you spend that money and let these lower teams spend money to buy better players, to invest in things like stadiums, the whole country would be better off. But no, they won't do it. They only want the top clubs earning the top money to spend that money. And see, I'm not one of those top clubs that, well, we're earning so much money now. We're going to earn so much more from sponsorship deals. But for a long time, we were stuck in them, lower parts. So and we wouldn't have been able to invest, and we wouldn't be the club we were now without that investment. That's clear to say. There's no point in saying, oh, City bought their way to this. Of course we did. Every club that gets to that point has to spend that money to be there. You know, you're not going to do it off the back of 11 youngsters coming through the youth team, maybe in the 80s, maybe in the 70s, but not now. You can't do it. So City are breaking that mold, and finally we're getting some sense. And the Premier League needs to sit up, and people need to sit up and hold the Premier League accountable for it and say, no, we want the best for what's our club. Because what this happens as well is that when you limit clubs from spending money, when you limit clubs to invest in other leagues, you know, you get Real Madrid win the Champions League every year. Why do you think they're doing that? Because they spend the most money, because they can buy all these Galacticos. You know, they've been doing it for decades. You have to be able to compete with other leagues. And if you limit in the Premier League clubs to a certain amount, then they're not going to be able to compete and get the best players year on, year out. And that's what ultimately you want if you've got the best league in the world and the most financially profitable league in the world. You want the best players, you want the best managers, you want the best stadiums. So yeah, I just never understood these rules. And another thing I want to point out is, well, when they go on about, oh, the Premier League clubs voted for this, the Premier League clubs voted for that, they bloody didn't. They didn't vote for it. It's so funny. I mean, the APT rules, I think the Premier League brought in anyway without the vote. But when you look at the FFP stuff that the clubs apparently vote for, they don't actually vote for it. Because, yeah, you'll get 20 clubs vote for it. The 20 clubs this season vote for it. That's fine. Whatever rule they vote for. Nonsense. Like, 15 clubs vote for it, 5 don't, whatever. And the rule gets brought in. Next year, 3 teams come up from the Championship, 3 teams go down. Now 17 clubs have voted for it. Or maybe even less than that. Well, 3 of those clubs weren't involved in them vote. So teams like Luton, who were never in their Premier League to begin with, they never got a say in any of these. You know, I doubt Leicester got a say. Well, maybe they did because they're in the Premier League. But other clubs coming up for the first time, you see what I'm saying? Like Nottingham Forest, they never got a say in these Premier League rules that were brought in 5, 6, 7 years ago. So the Premier League clubs didn't vote for it at all. Just some did. And do you know what clubs did vote for them? The top clubs. Clubs at the top of the league. They voted for it. So yeah, about how bright that was. Just like hits the window sill and goes nuts. But yeah, the top clubs voted for it, not every club voted for it, just the ones that have been in the Premier League since mostly its beginning, for over a decade, for 2 decades, whatever. The clubs that were consistently finish in the top 10, top 6, top 4, they vote for these rules, not the lower teams. And do you know what's funny? I think if you go back to all these Premier League votes, like the FFP stuff, like any APT or PSR, if you look at it, I bet City didn't even vote for most of them, if any. I don't know. I'm guessing. I bet City were against it. And it's not because we wanted to cheat the system or break it, because it sets an unfair advantage to the clubs at the top. Well, that's what it does. But everyone should be against these stupid Premier League. The Premier League are trying to set a standard. And anyway, all these FFP breaches and stuff that the Premier League is citing was brought in, funny enough, the same time where the government was going to look at the Premier League for not running it properly, and they suddenly brought in these charges and took us to court on the back of the government about to come in, and they panicked. And I hope we take them to the cleaners, not just for us, but for the whole of the league as well, because as everyone will see, beneficial to the whole league, not just for us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking it out. Hit like, hit subscribe. See you again. Bye bye.